Works of art come in many varieties. Some look toward the future, some focus on the past. Recently, Rob Wiles met Nashville photographer Jay Farrell, who focuses on abandoned crumbling buildings and what they can tell us about the people who built them.
I've always enjoyed doing street photography and, of course, abandoned buildings. I expanded into photojournalist-style wedding photography and some fine artworks and stuff like that. But abandoned building photography is just something I've always just kind of enjoyed doing for fun. And then unexpectedly, I got that offer to write books about it.
Which is why you'll often find Nashville photographer Jay Farrell walking through abandoned buildings. He first used them as a backdrop for more traditional pictures, but soon found that the buildings are, to him, the stars.
A lot of times I would bring models to places like this just because of the contrast of the distressed environment and then younger, prettier person. But now I much prefer the buildings. There's no schedules, there's no opinions.
The buildings don't tell Jay how to shoot. They just let him walk and look for just the right image. Over a decade ago, Jay's focus began to change from human to human-built. Focusing on what? An image? Maybe a feeling? A hint of the past? Well, Jay knows it when he sees it.
The textures and the whole life after people thing, it kind of helps you think creatively, like what was this? You kind of pick up on clues. And whatever you don't get, you can always reach out for more information if you want it. If you don't, you just sort of form your own interpretation, and plus just exploring and looking for it. That's part of the adventure.
Jay's adventures don't require a lot of research, just a strong imagination and a full tank of gas.
I usually just kind of go where I think I might find them and turn down some roads that I haven't been down.
Today's building is special.
This is like one of the best abandoned buildings I've ever been in.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. This place I know a little bit about what they did, but still, on my journey here, when I was photographing the inside of it and the outside, I was just kind of thinking what it would be like with workers in here, that it wasn't anywhere near this quiet. I could hear every step I took. This here is the best one, I think. Just so much distress and texture and the industrial glass, the graffiti, and then in the back, all the stuff falling down. And some old boiler equipment. I don't even know what all that stuff is, but this is so photogenic. And it's stuff that I'm afraid we'll probably never find again in this area.
Things are being built so quickly in many places that crumbling and abandoned buildings are becoming more difficult to find. So Jay's journeys are becoming longer. Down to Alabama, for instance.
There was this one in Alabama, I guess it was an old gas station. There was actually a tree growing through the front of the building. It was a tiny little space, there wasn't much to it, but I just thought that was just kind of so cool. It's almost like, okay, Mother Nature got its revenge. Somebody paved on top of the land and knocked trees down, and then all of a sudden this tree grows right through pavement and a block building. One thing I'll notice, especially with residential houses, the staircases are always really solid and the walls and the roof could be caving in. So they cared about what they did.
The story is one thing that attracts Jay to these places, once full of life and noise. Now silenced.
Greer Stadium, it just looked like a war zone. I was never much of a sports fan, but still, I've been a couple times and it just looks so much different than what it did then. Everything was busted out, like all the sinks and all the glass, walls and toilets, everything was just gone. I think they just wanted to make it as inhospitable as possible.
Inhospitable to most, but not to Jay Farrell, as he photographs disappearing Tennessee.